Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. It's the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, what should people do and not do, in fact, when they're trying to get their home ready for sale?
Well, Richard, I would start with a strategy because everybody has a different plan. It's funny, I met with a home seller last weekend and she goes, I don't like this process. And I said, I know what we sell is not fun, because you have to get your house ready for sale. You have to have people come through your house. There could be 3 weeks of the process once you have a contract where the deal is uncertain. And it just, and then you got to move, which is, it's one of the major stressors that people go through in life. So, some people actually opt for what I call the easy button, where they grab a cash buyer. Some of the local cash buyers that we have will come in and say, hey, we'll take it at this price. Of course, it's a discounted price. And they'll tell the seller, leave whatever you don't want. We got it, which is really cool. It saves them a lot of hassle. So the as is strategy is easier, but you're going to give up some of that equity in your pocket. Now, we do have cash investors that will come pretty darn close to full market value. And it's kind of a two-step process, essentially, where they'll make a good offer, but they'll hold back the equity. They'll cash you out with most of your equity up front. Then they have us resell it, and then you get the balance of it after it closes, including the upside. So those could be good for some people as well. And it's really important, I think, for home sellers to be educated about what their options are. In general, people don't sell homes every day. Majority of people opt for the traditional sales process. And it's really important for people to understand the process. That's partly why I do the show. I have a lot of fun telling stories and talking about what works and what doesn't work right now in this market. But the key is to get all 4 P's right. Picking the right agent, the agent that has some expertise in doing this, preparing your home for sale, pricing it right, and making sure it's marketed. If you mess up on any one of those, it could hurt you and take longer to sell or end up netting you less money. So when you pick an agent, try to do it based on a logical reason. Is this person the best one to help me handle the sale of one of my largest assets? And many admit they don't know. They just, might interview maybe the agent that sold them the home. There's really no predetermined way for home sellers to pick an agent. So typically what happens is they just grab the person that they know or they get referred to, etc. But it's probably a good idea to talk to a couple and just see what's available. When you do decide, it's good also to have some kind of criteria, and it shouldn't just be based on, well, I like that person, I'm more comfortable with them. It needs to be based on, is that person going to be the one to have the marketing plan, the pricing plan, and the strategy to actually help me reach my goals? So we actually have some free reports that you can order on my website. One of them is called the free agent selection guide. So if you go to barbhasthebuyers.com and click on that green button, free reports, we can send it right out to you. So tip number 1 on what to do to get your house ready for sale is clean as much as possible. Curb appeal is important. It's not a good idea to leave junk laying around. Clean the bathrooms. I mean, with, toothpicks and everything. Pick up for photo day, you want to be sure to pick up a lot of the clutter, like area rugs, little small tchotchkes, stuff on the counters, all that kind of thing. And things like door hardware, all that stuff should be very clean. Another thing that really hurts sales are odors, either cooking odors, pet odors, cigarettes odors, trash that's left in the garage that starts to smell. Clean the windows, make sure the light fixtures are clean. I remember showing a house one time. I was so shocked. It was a ceiling fan And no kidding, Richard, it had probably about a half inch of dust on top of the fan blades. It was gross. It was like, oh, you know. And so buyers make assumptions on that kind of thing. They'll be like, okay, if I'm seeing this, what else am I not seeing? And that could be enough to make them walk away. Depersonalize your home. So some people assume that you have to take every single family photo down. That I don't believe in that. I think it's okay to have some things about your life in there. It's just that a lot of people will go overboard. They'll have a whole wall of the whole family and their whole life. And that's a little bit overwhelming and distracting for a buyer, because the goal when the buyer comes in the door, and just so you know, the marketing first gets them in the door. So that responsibility falls on the listing agent to get the buyers there with pricing, with marketing, and make sure the home is prepared enough to not what I call repel buyers from the first showing, which is the online showing. So it's okay to have a few family pictures or a few personal items, but you just don't want to overwhelm them with stuff. And there are some buyers that won't even go look at it based on clutter and things like that. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale. So next up, we're going to be covering some more tips to get you ready for sale. And I get a kick out of people that listen to the show and they'll call me and go, okay, you said to do this. I'm ready to go. I think it's really cool. But you know, it is very helpful for us. I mean, we have teams and staff in place to help you get there. But if you want to know more about how to select an agent, there's some great free reports on barbhasthebuyers.com, or you can give us a call at 719-301-3900. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can listen to replays of the show anytime you like on all of the major podcast platforms, plus Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Schlinker. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900. Barb, we're talking about the top 15 tips to sell your home for top dollar. Tell us, what are some of the other tips?
Well, another important one is let the light in. So some people have put, real heavy drapes around their windows, or they're closing the blinds and making the house dark. And they might do that for it, to keep cool in the summer, that kind of thing. That's okay. But when you're showing the home, you really want light and bright. You want to let the outside in. Turn on as many lights as possible, especially for photos and for showings. Lighten up the bedding. The heavy, deeply colored bedding sometimes is overwhelming for the buyer. Also, take away any excess furniture and clutter. Now, a lot of people don't recognize clutter. If they live with it all the time, and it's kind of like, yeah, this is just normal. This is how I live. But when it comes to photos, it really kind of jumps out at you. So kind of an easy trick that you can do is just take your cell phone, move the camera horizontal, take a picture of that room as it stands, especially living room, kitchen, master bathroom, master bedroom. Those are really, really critical rooms. And look at the stuff. And if you can blow up that picture like on an iPad or a laptop or something, it really talks back at you about clutter. Remember, the buyer has to visualize themselves in the home. So if you have too much stuff in there, they can't get past it. And sometimes they won't even look at it based on the pictures. And then, of course, consider staging. Now, with us, we actually sometimes will bring in furniture. Most of the time, though, we're doing an electronic version of staging. And according to the National Association of Realtors, most sellers will net anywhere from 3 to 15,000 more based on staging. So there's different ways to do it, but even if you're living in the home with your own furniture, we will get professionals in the interior design space to come in and look at the home and help you position your stuff so it's more attractive to a buyer. There's a lot of agents out there. There's like 6,300 agents just in the Pikes Peak region, probably 40,000 in Denver. 81% of them sell 3 or less homes a year. Actually, half of those agents don't sell any. And 87% of real estate agents get out of the business in 5 years. You wouldn't believe how many agents I talk to after business hours or on the weekends, and they're always real estate emergencies because they have other jobs, because they can't support themselves. So you definitely want to hire somebody that's full-time, that has sales, and ask them how many sales have they had in the past year. Don't feel offended by that. They're not going to be happy answering that question, but it's a good question. You also want to hire the agent that has access to buyers. So in general, people think buyers come from Zillow or they come from the MLS, but it starts with the home and the listing agent and the decisions that the seller makes and how that home is presented to the market, both with price and presentation, that gets the buyers to come. We have lots of buyers. We have over 28,000 buyers just on our little website that we can market to, plus local investors as well as cash investors. So it's really critical who you hire. And then it's also a good question to ask about negotiating. It's interesting that I've been to a lot of classes in real estate in my career. There's not a whole lot on negotiation. I know, Richard, you said the same thing in your industry, in the legal industry, right? They didn't teach it in school.
Not a minute, not a second. You
Yeah.
graduate, you pass the bar exam, you're out there, and you have no idea how to negotiate or how to market.
Right. And you have to negotiate as a lawyer, right? I mean, that's probably mostly what you're doing. So, the agents are kind of skilled on, okay, they can fill out a contract form and send it on email and just kind of hope it works out. But are they really talking? Are they communicating to the seller? Because if it's done through a third party fiduciary, the seller is only getting half the story. How much there's a way that you can sell your offer, right? There's a way you can negotiate to get what you want, but it really takes some effort, and not everybody is trained on how to do it. And then, of course, you want to hire somebody to help you correctly prepare the home for sale, as well as an agent that gives you some kind of certainty that it's going to go through. And that's one of the uniques that we have is we could put any address in the country up on our cash offer website and get at least a half a dozen offers. So we show up with offers, and some of these offers are full market value, even over market value. So the seller has a choice to choose that, or maybe just to go on the open market and see what the market will do. So you want choices as a seller, and you want to know that you're going to reach your goals of being able to sell your home and move to your next property. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker on Your Real Estate Voice. That's the name of the show. And if you're thinking of selling your home and want to get the most amount of money when you do sell, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. A short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how to get your home on the buyer's must-see list. If you want to be on that list, Barb will tell you how.